Hey you all, most hi to fellow dressmakers. You're welcome to another interesting tutorial. I'm Confidence. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you the sewing process of this dress. In the last video, I shared the pattern drafting and the cutting video. So if you haven't seen that, do well to check that out. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. So after transferring the patterns to the fabric, these are all the pieces that I have. I have the side front, the center front, the lining of the side, the lining of the center front, and then the back piece. Yeah, the back pieces, the upper bodies. So for this back, you can see what I did here. Instead of just adding my half inch sewing allowance, I kind of added 0.25 to this side because I do not want it to be really that wide. I might end up sewing it the same way I cut it out on the pattern, but for now this is what I have. Then for the main fabric, I interfaced it with paper stay, just one layer of paper stay on the main fabric, and you can already see that I use same fabric as the lining for the upper bodies. So for the lining, there is no interface, just the fabric. I did the same thing for the center, front, and then the side. Then after interfacing one layer of paper stay, you can see that I infused wording around the bust area for the bustier. I did the same thing for the side, one layer of paper stay on the fashion fabric and then wording around the bust area. Now I'm going to place it the same way, side on the front, on the center front, yeah, like this. Then I'm going to pin it. Then I'll go over to my sewing machine and sew it with half inch sewing allowance that I added. Just go ahead and join it just like this with about half inch, if that is what you added as your allowance. Then I'll do the same thing for the other side and do the same thing with the lining too. So we'll be focusing on the front part. So what I will do now is, after doing the upper bodice, I'm going to stitch the dart of the skirt both on the fashion fabric and then the lining. I notched the dart, so I'll just go ahead and match up the notching and then I'm going to stitch the dart. The dart length is 6 inches. And like I said, while cutting this, the dart is totally optional. If you want to, you can add that or you can decide to do away with it, especially with the draping that will be coming on the center front, yeah, on the front. And right after doing that, this is the result. I've joined the darts both on the upper part and then the skirt, and then I have ironed it out neatly with the help of my bust arm on this upper part. I did the same thing with the lining too, joined the darts and then ironed it out smoothly. Press open the seam as you can see it here. Then I'm gonna have to stitch the skirt dart the same way I said I would, and then iron it out the same way you should iron your darts. Now what I'm going to do is to match up the darts lines on both the upper part and then the skirt. Okay, if you calculated the darts well, shouldn't be a problem. You're going to match up the dart lines and then you're going to join it on the waistline with about half inch. I'll do the same thing with the lining too, and afterwards this is what it's looking like. So if you look closely, you'll see that the dart lines are aligning, and that's the effect of calculating the dart intakes of both the upper part and then the down part well. So now you're going to get your net. I use 2 yards here. You should have nothing less than 1.5 for this, okay? 1.5 or 2 yards works just fine. You can even do more than 2 yards if you want the drape fuller. Now you're going to fold it 2 yards in a way that you have the selvage both up and down. Do you get that? You have 2 yards, you just fold it into two to have 1 yard. Then you're going to fold in the rough edge here and you're going to place it exactly on the seam line here. Do you get that? You're going to fold the rough edge. If you want to, you can even decide to avoid that. This is not a fraying fabric. It's not going to flare. Then you're going to gather this just the same way you can see me do it. You're going to gather it to have at least 3.5 or 4 inches. It should not be more than 4 inches, the gathering. Okay, then you're going to decide which side you want it. If you want it on the right, just do this on the right side. If you want it on the left, as it is on the thumbnail, you're going to just do it this exact place you see mine. Okay, then after stitching it down, this is what it looks like. Now you're going to get that rough edge that you folded on this side. Yeah, you're going to fold it again, that rough edge, and then you're going to stretch it and then pin it down on the midpoint of the neckline. Yeah, the neck depth, you're going to stretch it, and remember this will be going to the under bust. Yeah, this will be passing through the under bust. So you're going to stretch it in a way that it will just stay in place when you wear your dress. Okay, do not over stretch and do not under stretch. Just stretch it in a way that if you also stretch your fashion fabric, is going to give you what you have when you wear it. Then you're going to pin this one, go in this direction too. You arrange it properly and then you pin. It's very simple. Later on, we'll be stitching it down here so that it will stay in place. Then you're going to come here and then you stretch this one this way. Can you see what I'm doing? And I'm taking my time to do this. Okay, you stretch and then you pin down. All this other space or this excess we have will be going just directly on the underbust, from the underbust down. Just watch what I'm doing. Okay, you're going to stretch and then you pin. You stretch and then you pin. While stretching, you can decide to like also stretch the fashion fabric so that you see the effect you're creating, so that when you wear it, it will not be folding the fabric and it will not be gaping because you under stretched. Do you get that? If you have a body form, trust me, this will be so much easier. But if you don't have like me, just go ahead and follow the same process. Now you're going to measure from your waist down to your hip line, then you're going to add 5 inches. From your hip line, you're going to add 5 inches and then you're going to mark it, okay? And now you're going to, can you see what I'm doing? You're going to also stretch this one in a way that it will meet the one you already have there and kind of cover it. There shouldn't be any space there. You can even place it on each other so that there won't be any space there. And then you take the down part and place it where your draping will be stopping so that you know that the excess you have, you're going to arrange it in a way that it will contain the space you have on the dress. Yeah, the green fabric. Do you get that? You're going to take your time, you stretch and then you pin down. You stretch and then you pin down.
It's only been a few days. I set my eyes on you, babe. Is it love at first sight? Turn on the lights, see the mess you made. 1, 2, in love with you. 3, 4.
So by the time you're done, you're going to stretch the green fabric like this to see that you did it well. And then you're going to stitch it down this way. Then you stitch the neckline and stop just here. Then follow the armhole curve and then stitch it around the armhole. Then afterwards, we should have something like this, except that I ended up using one layer of fabric because I wanted to use the other 1 yard for something. But I just showed you how you should do yours. Please use the 2 yards or at least 1.5 so that you have the same effect you have on the thumbnail. I wanted to use that for something else, and I'm currently where it's really hard to access fabric, so I was kind of saving myself the stress of going extra mile to get another net. Okay, but yeah, follow the same process that I showed you. Do not do one layer. Do fold your net the same way I said you should. Okay, and afterwards you're going to bring in your lining after trimming off the excess net you have there. You're going to match up the lining on the neckline, right side facing right side, of course. And then at this point you can decide to pin down to make your life easier. Now you're going to sew the neckline following the shape you have there. Then after that, after stitching the neckline, you're going to go down to the hem and then you're going to also sew the down part with about 1/2 inch. Then after that, you sew the two sides, and after sewing, you're going to iron it out neatly to have something as smooth and neat as this. I ended up burning this thing and I tried to use gum to like close it, and it ended up leaving white patches there. So later on, I cut it out. Yeah, I had to cut it out. Thank God this is not a fabric that can fray. So yeah, it's just as well. Then I'm done with the back part. As you can see, I already fixed the zipper, did the down part, the slit. I only need to iron it. And then I'll also fix the fastener for the back keyhole. The next thing I'll be doing now is to go ahead and turn the shoulder the same way you turn your shoulder. Do the same thing for the other side. Then after that, you're going to fix your sleeve around the armhole. Hold on, we haven't talked about the sleeve. Okay, let's have it. So you're going to fold your fabric and then you measure down to your length, your desired length. It should be long length, okay? Then the width I have here, you can see that I just folded the fabric, the whole length I have of the Ankara. Then from your length, you're going to go up 4 inches. Yeah. Depending on how pointy you want the puff to be, you're going to go up to that. Then now from your sleeve length, the line that indicates the sleeve length, you're going to go down to 5 inches because this is not a regular sleeve. This is a puff sleeve, yeah. So you're going to go down to 5 inches or more, depending on your size. Then if you're comfortable with the width you have here, you're going to leave it like that. But if you feel that this is too much for you, you're going to measure your desired, like how wide you want the sleeve hem to be, okay? Then you're going to mark it and then you connect this one to that. This is, I was just trying to like eliminate the selvage of the Ankara. Now you're going to come up the 4 inches. You can decide to add half inch to that because of stitching allowance. Then you're going to curve it the same way you can see me do it and blend it into the already curve you have on the sleeve. Do you get that? You can see how wide the sleeve cap is. If you're comfortable with that, you can leave it like that. This will give you more pleat, but if you make it narrower, it will make it pointier. So yeah, choose your struggles carefully. And after that, you're going to cut it out. And after cutting it out, this is what it looks like. Now I'm going to bring in a paper so that we create a template for the scallop. Okay. Forget every other line or color you're seeing on this paper. I've used it for something else. So on the paper, whatever you have as the width can also be the same thing you have on your fabric or not. And the paper is on fold, okay? You can decide not to do this on fold. Now I'm going to measure what I have here as the weight and then you're going to divide it by how many scallop you want to have. How many scallop you want to have on the fabric, okay? Let's say I want 8. So I'm going to divide what I measured into 2. Then I divide it into another 2 equal halves. Then I'm going to mark the value on the paper, okay? That exact value I just folded my measuring tape to get. I'm going to mark it here. Then I'm going to use my ruler to highlight it, like rule out a line on that point to indicate. Yeah. So after doing this, I measured and I noticed that this is not straight. It's not supposed to be straight. The way I placed the ruler, it's not supposed to be straight. So I had to make it the same value, like the same value I have on the down part. I had to use this marker to like do the line now so that you know what you're going for. Okay. So now we have it. The next thing I'll be doing now is to go ahead, whatever it is I measured from here to the first line here, I'm going to divide that into 2 equal halves. Okay, you can see what I'm doing. It's easier to just fold in your measuring paper, measuring tape, and then you're going to mark the value in between the lines, the longer lines. And you're going to highlight it like about half inch or 1 inch, the same way you can see me do it here. Now you're going to go up to how deep you want the scallop to be. Yeah, how curvy you want it. I'm doing 2 inches here. You can decide to do more, but do not do legs. Okay, 2 inches works just fine. You can just do that 2 inches or 2.5 or even 3 inches. Now you're going to mark it out this same way you can see me do it. This is the reason why we had to get the midpoint of those lines. Then when you get here, you're also going to mark your 2 inches and then you connect it. If you ask me why I didn't do that, I do not know the answer to that. But you should do it like that, okay? Don't be like me. Do it the same way I said you should. Then you're going to use your scissors to trace this out, like carefully cut this out. Like I said, you can decide not to do this on fold so that it won't even stress you. Then when you get to this end, please just do what I said you should. You should not have this kind of ends like I have here. Okay, now you're going to smoothen the your sleeve hem, like the fabric. You're going to smoothen it out. You can even iron this out. Mine was a bit rough. Then you're going to place it the same way you can see mine going. Okay, I would have to open this up, like instead of this paper being on fold, I'll have to like cut it out, and then I'm going to place it this same way you can see it here, and then I'm going to cut it out. It's very simple. You can see what I'm doing here.
And tell me you know for sure. Waiting, I won't believe. I wanna go
So after cutting, this is what it's looking like. Now you're going to go ahead and cut your lining, but then you're not going to cut the scallop on the lining. You're just going to leave the lining straight so that it will be easy for you to work with. Then after turning it with the lining, it should have something like this. Can you see? The hem of the lining is straight because it will be hard for you to match up the scallop of both the fashion fabric and then the lining. So just make it straight, and then now you're going to carefully trim off the lining. Just cut off the lining following the shape you have on the fabric. Then after that, you're going to notch on this part that is looking like sweetheart neckline. Notch it just very close to the stitches, and then you're going to turn this out using your hand to poke out the scallop. Now you're going to give this a very smooth ironing to have something as smooth and neat like this. I did not use any hemming gum, but you can see how neat this is. Okay, now you're going to fix this to your armhole, then do your final measurement, like close the dress, and that's it. And with that, we've come to the end of our tutorial. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in my next one. Be good. Bye.